For those that are listening to the recording, this is the Career Professionals call. The Bonfire Career Professionals call, we do it once a month on the second Thursday of the month at noon Central. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Michael McFadden.
Hello.
Hi. I'm sending out some invitations to people just so they can join us. Sometimes people forget. I know I do. Whenever it's a busy week and here it is Thursday, I'm like, oh yeah, it's happening.
I have to put it on my work calendar, or otherwise I'll get booked over, double, triple booked.
Career Professionals. I'm just doing a little bit of noisy stuff over here. So Michael, why don't you tell the group where you're from and what you do? I want them to learn more about Coach Michael McFadden.
Yeah, I'm from Colorado Springs, and I'm a sales engineer for IBM, and I've been in the technology space for a lot of years, working for IBM, VMware, Dell. So I go into organizations, I help them understand the ways that they can transform their organization and automate, modernize. So it's really exciting work.
It is exciting work. And do you find, I mean, you're in one of the bigger firms that people call, like one of the big ones with IBM. Do you find that customers are really diving into wanting some innovative technologies and understanding how to stay relevant in the marketplace?
Yeah, the challenge is having the technology basically accelerate business so that you can run IT at the speed of business. So that's the big challenge. There's a big gap there where frequently the business has demands, customers have requirements, and IT tends to struggle to meet those demands that are ever changing in the organization. So yeah, they tend to dig in pretty frequently.
Yeah, so there's oftentimes a lag in the adoption of technology to serve that which we're already probably trying to figure out in paper mode or figure out on whiteboards, and how do we make this more efficient and how do we actually get the work communicated through different departments. Yeah, I remember that. I have an IT background, and it was really hard because one, adoption of a solution doesn't mean implementation of the solution. And even an implementation of the solution doesn't mean that they're going to utilize the solution. So, and you come in at what part are you in the team and in that process with IBM?
I'm the solutions architect or design engineer. So I'll design the solution, I'll understand the customer's requirements, and then I'll map that to the solution, and then help the customer understand as well the return on investment and how quickly they can implement it, and the design of the solution really. And it's interesting because the organization will have a demand for a requirement. They'll typically be very understaffed, especially over time. There's less people to do the work, so it's a challenge in the ability to implement it, to purchase it, to have budget for it. So it's all those problem sets that we overcome, that help the customer overcome.
So you're also a Bonfire coach.
Yes.
So I want people to hear this. You've got this duality of your life. That's just the work part. Michael's a dad of 5 kiddos?
6 kids, yeah.
6 kiddos.
Yeah.
So a very full life. And so as a Bonfire coach, who can you help, and what does it look like, working alongside you, especially in the professional sense, to help them in their careers?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of experience in finding jobs. I've been through that many times, and whether if it's using LinkedIn, updating resumes, networking, connecting, and so I've got a lot of experience in doing that. And I actually use the Bonfire method and tool set to find my current job with the help of Tina Marie and the Bonfire. So yeah, it was definitely very relevant. Used a lot of the tool sets to find my current role, so I can help people in that.
And does the tool set also work inside your current role to help elevate your mindset, your communications, your visibility inside of projects?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I've noticed it's made a huge impact in my ability to contribute, add value, connect, and be above the line. So yeah, it's made a big difference in IBM. I've seen that as I've shifted more and more to above the line, that it's made a really big difference in the organization, the people I come in contact with too. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I just wanted people to have that insight, because oftentimes you're here and we see your smiling face, and I don't think people know the depth of what you bring to the table. And so as a career coach, you can help professionals that are inside their role right now that want to elevate and be more visible and have a greater internal brand. And those people that are wanting to shift from possibly even internal shifts, because you've experienced this too, where you're internal within a role and you say, hey, I want that role. So how do you mitigate that conversation and find that courage inside to go for it? Right?
Definitely.
So today what we're doing, and welcome Teresa, thank you for joining us. It's great to see you. What we're going to do today on our Bonfire Career Professionals call is answer some of your questions. And I didn't want to make this thematic, because there's so many different places we could dive into and help you with where you are and where you'd love to be. And I want to help you with whatever's coming through. So find that courage. And Hashim, who raised your hand, Hashim, he's the guy sitting on the beach by the pool who answered or asked a question. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it into the chat. And if anybody has any other questions, if you could just drop it in the chat, that would help as well. And I also want to introduce, if you haven't yet met, or I think everybody here knows, the amazing Pamela Shamlin. So Pam, are there any announcements that we have that we need to also talk about, just so people understand different things going on inside of Bonfire?
We have the Career Professionals call right now, yay. And we have our live event coming up next weekend, Abolish Your Inner Saboteur. Hashim is included in that. He's already taken advantage of that. I've talked to Lindsay about it a little bit. Teresa, I'll talk to you if you want to hear about that. Michael knows all about it. That's the next thing we have. But tonight we have, you're doing a talk. You're talking about one of the topics that's covered.
Activity in your life. Yeah.
And it's going to be a Zoom call, and it will also be live on the Bonfire Coaching Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the month, we have, it's 7 o'clock. Yes.
Right,
and then at the end of the month, I believe it's early this month, the 25th, we have Bonfire Connect, which is open to everyone to come and join in. Tina Marie always has an awesome topic to coach on and talk about. And it is a great place to be with like-minded individuals who are coaching with us or have coached with us, and share what's going on in our lives.
There you go. Thanks so much, Pam. And I was wondering, could you go grab the link on the Eventbrite page and paste it in our chat for people that want to come tonight? So tonight, the topic is healing negativity in your life, and that can revolve around negativity in the workplace, communications in the workplace that feel stuck, even at home. So the techniques and the strategies that we're going to be sharing tonight will fit in all areas of your life. And I hope to see you there. We'll be recording it. So if you do register for it and you don't have the availability to actually attend, we'll be emailing out that recording after the talk tonight. That's going to be from 7 to 8. Hello, Coach Hannah. Hi. And thank you to our guests. I think I would say that Wai Ying, possibly, as your name. I hope I'm not screwing that name up too much. For those that are here, or maybe listen to the recording, I am Tina Marie St.Cyr. I've developed the Bonfire Method, the Bonfire Coaching. We also have Bonfire Coaching Academy for those people who are interested in perfecting or increasing their skills as a masterful coach. We have certifications in different areas for that. And this is, like Pam said, we're on our Bonfire Career Professionals call. So let's dive into the questions. The question, thank you, Pam. The question here that Hashim placed, I'm going to read it. This might be for a beginner's 101 question. And by the way, every question's always great. So there isn't a bad question. By the way, hi, Lindsay. Great to see you. I want to ask you about your new position, how that all is going. So Hashim asks, I'm still going to ask, good. how do you go from the mindset of you should be happy even when you have a job? So you have a job, so why push the boundaries there, right? To knowing your worth and assertively working toward your goal, a promotion, appropriate compensation relative to your worth, even in your workplace currently, and whenever you market yourself externally. How do you know that? And the supply versus the supply and demand, while staying above the line and not letting your ego take over. Excellent, amazing question. So let's peel this down. And before I answer, I always love to have my coaches be able to also contribute because they're brilliant. I'm not in fact, whenever you have a company, hire people smarter than you. That's a great place to be. And so Hannah or Michael, what insights would you have for Hashem whenever you speak or whenever he asks this question? What are your thoughts? Let's see. Who's going to go first? Hannah's going to go first.
I can go first. I think how I hear your question, Hashem, is that it sounds to me like it's a perspective almost of the same thing, just coming from either maybe below the line or above the line, right? So one is, I'm grateful for having a job, right? So that's definitely a perspective. To me, what need that speaks to is certainty, which would be, technically our lower mind needing to keep us safe, right? We want to make sure that we have a job, that we are grateful for what we have. Absolutely fair and valid. The other question is my worth, which to me relates to our contribution and how we give back to the world. And so it's almost like the same thing. It's just where you're choosing to look at it from, right? So what you have to contribute and the value that you have is about contribution. And that doesn't have to come across as arrogant or conceited. It can be just what it is, which is your contribution, right? So you can still be grateful for the gifts that you've been given and this intelligence and the ability to, communicate and create projects and success for your business. But it's where you're choosing to look at it from, right? If you need that certainty in there, then it's going to come across feeling a little lower vibration. And then if you're also looking at it from, man, what I'm able to give and, support the world with that I was naturally given, then it tends to lean towards contribution. So that would be that's my initial thought on that.
That's awesome. Thanks so much. Perfect. And Michael, any addition there? And then I'll pipe in. Pam, I'm writing you a note. I was wondering if you could go grab the above the line, below the line. I know that's paired with the how and why, and just drop that file here into the Zoom because there's some people that haven't seen the toolkit yet. I think we could share that. Thank you. Mike, any input there with Hashem on his question?
Yeah, I would say, when we're in the same place frequently within a position and we're grateful for, that's really amazing. And at the same time, as Tony Robbins says, progress equals happiness. And so if we're in that, and as well, if we're in that space of being above the line, then we're looking at how we can, like Hannah said, contribute more. And then we're also looking at how we can improve our growth game. And so as we're constantly growing and evolving in our career, then there's also the other side of it too, where we can then stretch and reach for new opportunities within the organization because we'll add value and we'll be seen as that thought leader. For me, I'm a Y type, so I think of the future, the thought leadership, the strategy, and so there's a lot that can be added there, and constantly upping our game. And not necessarily that we're ungrateful for where we're at, we totally are, but then there's also the ability to stretch for more.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. That's so true. Because Hashem, inside of us, there is that seed of there's more. And sometimes our certainty mind, like Hannah was saying, will want to squash that. It'll want to squash that inevitable sense of I want to be more in my life and contribute to other people. And so we give ourselves breath. We give ourselves ability to say, there is more, and I'm not being selfish. I'm not going to be, disrespectful, like Michael said, of not appreciating where I am. I'm going to breathe into, there is more available in life. And the truth is, if we do not, I was going to ask you this question. Let's say you have the seed of more inside of yourself. Tell us because you put in parentheses a couple things. A promotion, appropriate compensation, supply and demand. what is inside of your soul that's saying, and that's even bringing you to the place of questioning this? What is inside of your soul that says, I know that there's more for me, and the what if? Do you have those thoughts in your mind, Hashem?
In some ways, yes. I'm thinking, yeah, there is more. I'm trying to figure out how to get it out of me. I think there's things inside of me that are blocking that and keeping it suppressed, even though, like you said, I kind of want it out there. But also there's a side that's like, be realistic, or even saying that, or even keeping it down. Like, you're not special, you're or that even that like Hannah said, that below the line thinking that you have the certainty, and or and even that thought like, yeah, you should be happy you even have what you have.
Just
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, right. Right. So we call that, like we've said here, the below the line thinking. It's going to keep you stuck in a perspective.
Yeah.
And what we know is that that soul's calling is on purpose. It's not there to create disruption. It's not there to create an instability. It's not there to have you second guess yourself or create worry, although it does. Whenever
Yeah.
we do not breathe into that next level of our life, the evidence of not moving in that direction is the below the line feeling: anxiety, worry, depression, remorse, regret. We compare ourselves to other people. We criticize our own steps, and maybe we didn't do what we needed to do. We shame ourselves or should on ourselves. And so those activities, those feelings are evidence that that pathway is still open. We haven't shut a door on it. The pathway is still open, and we want to move in its direction. We want to start to have trust and faith that something else is working in and through us, and move in that direction. Can I share the story of one of our clients? His name's Omar. He would be very happy to share his story. In fact, he's been on our podcast and shared his story there. He was working at Shell, so big firm, great job. Had, by the outside view into his world, he had all the trappings of success. He had everything that some other people, if he were to compare, they were to compare his career and his life and his setting of where he had been and landed. Outside people would look and go, why are you pushing the envelope? Do you see the job market right now? You should be grateful for what you have. Just, keep the course, just stay there. Why do you keep wanting to look outside? Now his spouse at home, who's a dear spouse, was saying, I can tell you're unhappy, you need to do something different. And so he had that dualistic conflict inside of his mind of just stay where you are and be patient. Be patient. He was passed over for some promotions. He was told that a promotion would be available. It was 2 years in the making. It didn't happen. He knew that his skill sets in the open market, he believed, because he did some research, were more valuable than what his compensation package was inside of Shell. And so that angst inside of his being was very volatile, and it was keeping him up at night, and it literally had him reach out for coaching. So we're grateful that he landed here at the Bonfire, because we helped him, and we're helping you too. And so it took courage, because, oh my goodness, the resistance, like he was like a donkey going, no, I don't want to change. No, I can't do this. And he'd tiptoe into the ability, like, okay, I know I need to interview, but what if they find out if I interview? What if they find out? Do you ever have that?
No, I think for me, it's more it's more on the confidence side, confidence versus ego, where maybe outwardly, again, ego protection mechanism, projecting maybe more than what I really think that I am. And maybe that's another issue too that keeps me from even going there, is that having a lower confidence to say, okay, you're probably at a better place than where you should be anyway. And that's where that you should be happy you have a job comes from.
So is that a bit of what we hear in the world called imposter syndrome? Like you're in a role, and if they only found out that you may not really fit here. What do you
Well,
thought?
yeah, but I do think that also the way I'm performing in the role says that, oh, well, I do fit here,
Great.
even though maybe in my head I don't really believe that.
That's cool. And you're coming to abolish your inner saboteur. So that's that
Yeah.
saboteur mindset coming in and destroying your confidence, right? So we're going to take care of that next Friday. I'm so glad you're coming. So back to Omar. He also had that, like, I think I have value, but I should just be happy where I am. He comes from a background of being a Latino. And so he comes with a cultural meme that was also plaguing his mindset. And sometimes those things can happen, our family upbringing, the circumstances around our life, that it can also just hold us down. So we did some work. I'll tell you what happened is that Omar got fed up with just dealing with the conflict in his head because it got too exasperating. And he's like, oh God. So I said, just put your resume out there. Let's go for it. Let's interview. You had nothing to lose. I mean, because the truth is what he had to lose was worry.
Yeah.
What he had to lose was beating himself up. What he had to lose was bringing home a sad story to the people around him that were tired of hearing him tell the sad story. Like, okay, just go for it. So he got his courage up and he started interviewing. And from the process of just showing up and interviewing, he started realizing he had more value than he'd even thought. He hadn't been able to articulate his value or see his value because he was inside one little box of contribution into a role, and he didn't have a greater perspective of where else he could play.
Mhm.
Today, he started a job last July. So he accepted, and boy, was that a whole nother story of taking the leap. You get the offer letter, right? Because
Yeah.
imagine you get the offer letter and people want you, and he's going, that means I've really got to do it. And that means I've got to say no to this, and I got to go over there. What a month in, they realize I was a bad hire. He starts telling the story of, I will burn all the bridges. And what if there's no turning back? And I'm like, there is no turning back. So what version of you is going to show up? So we put his warrior on. His warrior's name is Alexander the Great, right? So he had to show up in a whole new way, and a whole new version of himself had to evolve. And it happened pretty fast. Once he didn't even just put the toe in, I said, you got to cross over that line, you need to leap. Because when we leap, the universe is like, I got you. Because going back to the beginning of the what we're talking about today, that seed of what if, that seed of I'm curious, would not be in you if there wasn't an open path for the next level of you already ready to receive you. We know that as coaches because we see it all the time. So we have a lot of evidence of it. Proof. Proof. So you're in a very safe, very loving space to hold that container of your evolution. Now, Omar, he said yes to this job. It meant moving his family from Katy to New Orleans. By the way, on his 3-part list, you've done your 3-part list, right? This is a 3-part list. Coaches take you through this. In this 3-part list, one of his would-be nices was that they moved to New Orleans. It was right there in writing. The company headquartered in New Orleans. He didn't want to work for a big firm anymore because he's like, the politics are suffocating. He didn't feel like he could contribute. He wanted to work for an innovative firm that was still in the energy space. He didn't know where and what. This firm, highly funded startup, over $300 million and getting more money. And it's battery technology. Do you think this world's going to exist on batteries pretty soon, if not already? And so he started last July. He's been promoted 3 times.
Wow.
He's now sidelined to the CEO.
That's
because
awesome.
they saw his value. Did he see his value at the very beginning? No. He doubted himself. He's like, I hope this works out. He was so scared, shaky knees. But he stayed with Bonfire, and we kept holding the container of him and his evolution. And now, if he were on this call, which I wish we could just go text Omar, get on this doggone call. He believes in himself. He sees that he's now at the value he always knew he brought, but he didn't know how to articulate or even show up with it because he was waiting for permission. He was waiting for permission or somebody to find and discover him so that he could exemplify his greatness. And I said, nope, you need to do it yourself. You need to climb it. And so the universe held his hand, and he's very happy. And we see the same makings in you. I mean, whenever we first sat down with you, Asham, and I said, you're in the right place, you need to go for it. That's because we see it all the time. Did this help you? Did this answer and this communication help you today?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking. Who also wants, just show of hands, thumbs up. Thank you, Hashem, for asking that question. Give him a thank you. Woo!
Thank you.
You helped everybody here. So thank you. So this is where I, and by the way, for our new people here, there's a file in the chat. It's called Above the Line, Below the Line. It's our basis framework to helping people learn how our lower mind's trying to make decisions and show up with our mental faculties. And anytime our lower mind is doing the decision making, we're just going to add more pain to our life. And even though we know inside of our souls, there's definitely more, we're going to feel like we're hitting a brick wall. So through Bonfire Coaching, what we help you do is to take that below the line mindset, which is still valid in our world. We need to appreciate it, but learn how to shift it to an above the line mindset so you can make clear decisions, find clarity, find energy, find your way, gain that confidence, that knowing inside of yourself, even if it's a step-by-step process, it unfolds. And then to live that life, to live that fulfilled, amazing, energized, happy, joyful life. And we say to be one of the annoying ones. We want you to be an annoying, happy person. Please. We live in a world where it's not okay being absolutely joyful and happy and ecstatic about life. We live in a world that's going, come on, why are you so happy all the time? Why are you not? Right? So I'd rather be an annoying one. That's just me. So Lindsay, how's the job going? Catch us up. What's going on?
Well, it hasn't started yet, but
Okay.
so we're doing all the pre-employment processing. So,
Mhm.
but they did offer, and I officially accepted the offer. I guess it's been a couple of weeks now, so that's awesome.
Yes, congrats.
So I passed the poly, which is always nice. I've taken a bunch of them, so they're never fun.
That's fun to say. I passed the poly.
Yeah. So it's really just a matter of getting the start date, and we're kind of at the mercy of HR, but I'm really excited for the opportunity. Was in Fort Worth looking at places, and so it's all kind of coming together.
Fun. And how's the hubby doing with everything?
He's good. He's good. I mean, we need to put a timeline on our time apart. I was actually, as you were talking, I was sending him a text. I'm like, hey, would you think about doing some bonfire coaching? And he's like, maybe in a few months. I'm like, I think it'd be really great for you and it'd be perfect. And I said, okay, I got your probably. I'm going to continue to bother you with this because I think it would be really great for you. Because he's definitely one of those super talented people with the old imposter syndrome. Kind of doesn't know where to start, and so instead of starting, he just settles for the status quo. And I mean, I think my being in Texas will help motivate him a little bit. So, but I heard so much of myself in Hashem's question, so I just wanted to speak to that and say it's a very normal state of mind to be in when you're considering your goals and next steps in life. And obviously you guys have helped me tremendously, and the proof is in the pudding. But I definitely started with Bonfire in that mentality that, I'm miserable with the career choice that I have made. How do I fix it? Instead of like, what is my actual why? So I was trying to fix what's broken in a position instead of looking outside of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it really took some time to get to that. And, I had that. I think we had the very same discussion where I was like, well, I can't find anything here. And I'm about to just go to Cece's coffee house and start making espressos. And you're like, well, if you do that, do it with gusto. And I said, right. That's a good point. Like, that is kind of how I needed to look at where I was kind of feeling stuck and open myself up and push toward opportunities that were more in my why, and give back. And all of that helped like create that momentum. And you got to do for yourself. Like this worked out because I know somebody that knew somebody. And, you can't wait for permission, like you said. So you got to fight for yourself.
You got to use your network. Definitely. Yeah. And we help you strategically learn how to use your network so it doesn't feel like you're imposing on them or being needy. Because the law of circulation, you're going to help them as well. Right. Which is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
It's so fun. I'm so excited for you. Can't wait to hear more. And so,
can I share a little bit? I've got.
Oh, please, Hannah.
I've got two clients that I think are relevant. They both came in for career coaching, obviously very separate people in different situations. And one, Lindsay, you crack me up because I do remember the CC Coffee comment. And this gentleman's comment, who is a 20-year veteran of Southwest Airlines, his comment was, well, I'll just get a part-time job at Walmart. For $500. That's his like bottom of the barrel. Maybe that's what I should do. And we all have that, right? It is so natural when we're in a position of fear to just go to the lowest common denominator, or the worst possible outcome that may suffice and may let us survive, right? Well, I guarantee you the next step of what he's doing is going to be a whole lot better than Walmart. Okay. And it's still in process, right? He's still building it. But it's going to turn out like Omar. And Hashem, your next step is going to be great like this also. I mean, it's like a guarantee because we've seen this over and over with our clients. So it's so beautiful. Okay, the other one is a gentleman who came in and he signed up for a 6-month package. And within 2.5 months, he literally nailed a better than dream job. I mean, nailed it. So now he's transferred the remaining of his sessions to his wife. Right. This is I think the third person that we have that's a client that thinks that their partner has transitioned, their coaching sessions to their partner to help them shift into their right space. And I had her kick off this morning, and it's just fascinating to hear what's inside people that they just can't quite hold on to yet. And it's our job to hold that container and say, oh, but this is what I heard you say. This is who you are. Right. And for that person to be able to expand into it. So just, for those of you who are on the call and listening, just know that, there is so much more. And like Tina Marie said, if you have the fear of question, that means that the door is open. So walk forward with support.
Yeah, with support. Yeah. That's awesome. And I put it, thank you, Hannah. And I put in my, in the chat, something that my father told me when I was younger. And it's kind of funny because sometimes our parents say things and, I couched it in a different way. But as I grew and I started understanding the what'd you put up there, Lindsay? What's it say? There you go. So I've obviously said that before. So Dad just put Jim Hamer. He said, do something even if it's wrong. And, here I was the good girl. So I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't do wrong things. But it wasn't that. It was just do something. Just take action. Whenever you move, when you take action forward, then there's going to be another step. Then there's going to be another step. Then there's going to be another step. And that energy is going to pull you as opposed to just staying stuck in fear. And in our careers, we could stay stuck in fear. And the thing that we fool ourselves with is I've got money in the bank. I've got money coming in. I don't want to risk that. But then we see our other peers taking the leap. And then, we compare ourselves to them or we're like, well, darn, they did it. And we wonder, when can we escape? And then we just keep ourselves in pain. So we don't do that here. What other questions? Anything coming through that you'd also like to ask? Teresa, welcome to the bonfire, by the way. Welcome to the bonfire. Could you just introduce yourself to everyone? Where are you at, in the world? A little bit about yourself. Do you have children? I think you do, because there's this basketball thing.
Yeah. That's my teenage son. That's actually my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter's, but my teenage son plays with it more.
Oh, cool.
Start on that one. I'm Teresa Tiberger. I have 4 children. They are my reason why I work so hard and do what I do, but they're also my reason that I feel stuck a lot of times, that I can't risk because I've got to protect. And so I have one that's grown up and married and moved out. And so check, got one done. And I've got a 15-year-old son still at home, a 13-year-old daughter, and a 5-year-old daughter. So yeah, right?
Yeah.
But I work for a company called Health Help, which was bought out by a bigger company. That's a business process management company. I've been with them for 5 years. I've been with Health Help for 5 years, April, and have pretty much gotten to the point. I've never actually been promoted. I've been administratively promoted because I was senior on the team when WNS bought us out. So they promoted me to a senior position because that was my role band. And I've been laterally, I don't want to say promoted, but moved to keep me at the company. And I've basically been pigeonholed since then. I've gone several times for higher positions. You know, I've earned it. I do the work. I never get promoted because they need me where I'm at because I'm really, really good at what I do, which is anything and everything. And I'm tired of feeling stuck and like the doormat and walked over. But Hashima, I'm telling you what you said, like I have that imposter syndrome that I know I want better. I know I deserve better, and I know I'm smart and I've got the skill set, but I don't know how to know where I'm supposed to be or to know that I'm good enough to get there. And so I do question myself, well, at least I got a job, because my boyfriend's been unemployed for a year now because he got laid off. He was in oil and gas. And so he's going through interviews and stuff. So I feel like, I shouldn't even be wanting to go someplace else because at least I got a job. But the latest bonus, if you want to call it that, was again considerably lower again, and it's just kind of a slap in the face. And then recently my dad passed away, and he always tried to instill in me. So I'm trying to do better now because of using him as an example.
There you go. And looking up to that mentorship that he provided, that guidance. And so what I've also seen, for the most part, right, this isn't a rule across all organizations. However, in most companies, if we're moved, like you said, Teresa, laterally, whenever we're moved and we're put into different roles, it's basically like buying time. The organization is wanting to keep you happy, but they're not doing it in a way that feels value to you. And we can fool ourselves and say, oh, great, maybe there's more potential here. Maybe there's an upward path in this particular position. Maybe I'll be, appreciated here and valued here and seen here, and it won't be so bad. And then we get to that extent there, and then we do it again, or they do it again. And so whenever we're in an organization that has the MO or the practice that they simply want to move you, as opposed to you seeing an opportunity. So another way to have this happen is you see the opportunity and you go for it. So going for an opportunity or even developing an opportunity, one of our past clients, she saw a need inside of the organization, and this was Allstate. It's a big organization. She saw a need, and she developed an internal business plan and sold it to the executive board to develop an entire department. And because she was the brainchild of that, they put her in charge of the project and saw her amplitude inside that. And then she became the director in that particular role. And it's become a vital organizational, she became very innovative within a non-innovative company. So we need to start thinking outside of the box. One, not waiting for a promotion. It's better to see the opportunity and seize the opportunity. And that takes courage. The second is, if we're being moved laterally, just simply know the writing on the wall is we're not going to ever get to where we think we're going to get in that organization. We must take ourselves out of that organization and make the pivot, take the leap. It's just God going, you're not getting there here. You're not getting there here. You got to move. And it takes a lot of courage. It's scary stuff. However, we also need to have faith that the universe isn't going to put in our lap something and have us fall flat on our face. It doesn't happen that way. If it did, we wouldn't have a company. There would not be a company called Bonfire Coaching if there was not success in what we do. We would not even exist. So we see a lot of proof. There's a book I want to get off my shelf here, and I want to ask you to go take this assessment because I think it feels vital to all of us here on the call. And I just recently I re-immerse myself in particular works that are truth. There's definite works in the world that whenever we resonate with them, we're going, this is like water on the desert at the time we need it. And for me, going to the next level and taking Bonfire, which Hannah's helping me with Bonfire Corporate, whoop, 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 doing that. And then we're looking at multiple ways to be more beneficial to our audiences and our clients. We're growing. So we're going past our plateau. The definition and the meaning of what we think we are needs to blow up so that we can see outside of that ceiling. And the book on the energy of the words that are in this book are very often what I resonate and gravitate to whenever that blowing up the ceiling happens. And it's the book Think and Grow Rich. And if you don't yet know about Think and Grow Rich, I highly recommend you get this book. And there's a lot of audible versions of the book as well. And inside the book, there is a self-assessment. And so the self-assessment is something I'd highly recommend you go find. I could probably just find it online, but I haven't made like a document of it. And it's not, in fact, it's in the epilogue, and I'm having a hard time finding it. I'm going to jump to this one thing. There are symptoms of fear, and fear is what keeps us stuck, right? Yeah. And so those symptoms of fear, the 6 ghosts of fear, I'm just going to read that, and then I'm going to take you to how you're going to do your own self-assessment. Because this is why we wouldn't leap. This is why the mind has any energy on us at all to keep us stuck. I'm going back. This is not the typical version I have. This is very big font. Big font. And so the 6 fears, okay. The 6 fears create indecision. And this is where in this chapter, so if you get Think and Grow Rich, it's chapter 15. And it's where you're going to take an inventory of yourself. It's great to have that mirror of ourselves of how am I really doing. And then you're going to find out how these ghosts of fear are in your way. Because it says here, before you can put any portion of the philosophy of success, the success principles that are in Think and Grow Rich, to use, your mind must be prepared to receive it. The preparation is not difficult. It begins with study, analysis, and understanding of 3 enemies, which you shall have to clear out. These 3 enemies, which those coming to abolish your inner saboteur, you're going to combat and clear out these enemies, are indecision, doubt, and fear. Indecision is the seedling of fear. Remember this, as you read, indecision crystallizes into doubt, and the 2 blend together to become fear. I'm going to say that again. Indecision crystallizes into doubt, and the 2 blend to become absolute fear. So it's not like fear like I fear, sharks or something like that. This is absolute mind altering fear that changes the synapses of your neurological pathways in your brain to go into survival mode and only do the least amount of energetic movement possible, right? That's the kind of fear we're talking about. And this happens to all people. The blending process is often slow. This is one reason why these 3 enemies are so dangerous. They germinate and grow without their presence being observed. So it's very unconscious yet. So through the bonfire method, we bring these fear states into consciousness so then we can actually, I say attack them, but we're transforming them, right? So in the 6 basic fears here, I'm going to read them. I'm not going to go into detail. I highly recommend you get the book and you can just jump to this chapter based on what we're talking about today. The 6 fears are fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health. And those are the three most, if you were to really inventory most humans, those are the three biggest fears in the world. And you would think these next three fears are bigger, but funny enough, they're not. So I'm going to repeat that. The top three fears of humanity: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, so equals shame, embarrassment, not good enough, and the fear of ill health, like being sick, being an invalid, somebody else having to take care of us. We can't take care of ourselves, right? And then the next three fears, which in my mind, I just think, shouldn't they be bigger, right? The fear of loss of love of someone. So the fear of loss of someone you love, right? The fear of old age, and the fear of death. The fear of death actually ranks 6th in the top fears of humanity. I find that very interesting, right? Well, maybe if you're little, and you haven't emerged into the ability to take care of yourself, maybe that's top on their list for little people, but I don't think they inventoried it for those. And then in here, you're going to have a self-assessment. So you'd understand how you rank, what's really happening in your thinking. Because once you have that, then you can unmingle it. Because if we don't unmingle it, then it's just writing us. It's writing us. So with that, any questions you guys have? Any other questions? It's called self-analysis test questions. If you want to Google this, and somebody type this in the chat. Think and Grow Rich book, right? Self-analysis test questions. Think and Grow Rich, self-analysis test questions. Thank you, Lindsay. And this will be, thank you. You did it. I love that, Lindsay. Woohoo! Because these are the questions you want to ask yourself. Do you complain often of feeling badly? If so, what's the cause? Do you find fault in other people at the slightest provocation? Do you frequently make mistakes in your work? And if so, why? Are you sarcastic or offensive in your conversation? Do you deliberately avoid the association with anyone? If so, why? So these are just simply across the board understandings of how we operate. And once you have that, what would be great is for that self-analysis to get to your coach, right? Any other questions? Thank you, Lindsay. Is this helpful today? This is helpful? So, Teresa, you're new to our process. We end our coaching sessions and we end our group sessions in the same way. We didn't begin it with the wins exactly. We did do some touch bases and I took a little bit different pivot there. However, we do end with, what are some takeaways from today's time together that made our time absolutely worth it? And the reason why you want to have that perspective, not only in our calls or in our coaching sessions, it's in anything you're investing your time and attention to in life, because our time is highly valuable. Our attention span is highly malleable. And so those people that we spend time with, those things that go into our brains and our minds become who we are. And so we want to have a self-assessment of, like I just said, what out of our time together today made your time here absolutely worth it? What out of your time invested in your career made your time absolutely worth it? What in your time with the relationships made your time absolutely worth it? So what are your takeaways? So we're going to start with, we'll start with Lindsay and then go to Hashim and then go to Teresa. So Lindsay, what's the takeaway from today for yourself?
I mean, not just because I have the Post-it on my wall, but do something, even if it's wrong, continues to be just a battle hymn in my life, and a great one. And this past weekend, I went to Texas just for Mother's Day, and I thought, well, I'm going to go for Mother's Day, and then I'll stay a couple days into the week and I'll get some admin stuff. But also on Monday, I'll email Fort Worth and say, hey, I'm in town, and if we can get these things scheduled, I'd love to move this process forward. Really looking forward to getting started, that kind of thing. Thinking that, perhaps they would drag their feet, whatever. It's a civil servant position. So, who knows? And we're all at the mercy of HR. So who knows? But I really looked at the trip, not just to see my mom, which was great, but I was going to put positive energy toward Texas. I'm going to go and just hope for the best, because what's the worst that could happen? I'm going to see mom, I'll get my new driver's license. And of course, the driver's license is a whole nother shit show, but that's beside the point. but it worked. And they got back to me quickly. And like by Monday night, I was, headed to Fort Worth and getting a hotel, and the tests were the next day. And so I feel like, just doing something is so important. But I also think you have to have kind of a bit of a specific agenda, right? Like you got to kind of know what you're doing it for. And my backup plan is the license. So whatever it was, I was not going to fail on this trip, but I was creating a little bit more space to have greater success, and it worked. So
awesome.
Yes.
And I'm always in favor of more aggressive approach than not.
Yeah. And that is one thing I have changed about myself in this process too. One of the many things, but that is to, you can ask for what you want and be a little bit of a polite but squeaky wheel.
Exactly.
Because they want me, they need me. So why not help them help me?
Jerry Maguire. I love it. Teresa and then Hashem, takeaway from today.
I like the idea of the seed is there for a reason. Like you have that seed, you have that thing poking you, and you don't feel bad for wanting growth just because the world looks crazy. It's there in you for a reason. And you said something that helped me to state what I'm saying. What my big issue is, I'm not able to articulate my value. I need that help. So that's stuck.
You're in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely going to help you there. Hashem, and then Hannah, and then Michael.
Yeah, so for me, it was, I'm glad you went over those 6 fears, because I do definitely identify with those top 3. And so articulating that helped. Mm-hmm. And I'm just bring that to the forefront. I know we're at the Abolish Your Inner Saboteur, we're going to work on that. Mm-hmm. But also the seeing the perspective and realizing that, realizing where I am when I have certain perspectives. Just hoping I can keep working on identifying that and getting better at that.
Awesome. And thank you so much for your question.
Oh, thank you.
That was a beautiful seed for all of our conversation. Thank you so much. Hannah, Michael, and then Pam.
Hashem, I agree with you. I think reading, hearing those 6 fears, because we, typically lump fear into below the line, right? The need for certainty often. And there are so many triggers of our fear. So just hearing those was good. And the other thing that is just enlightening for me is the commonality in the process that people go through when they're ready for the next version of expansion. And I think today's session helped me really kind of see it from an aggregate perspective, because I work with so many clients and I see this over and over. But now it's like, and Hashem, I think it was your question, because it's so common. It's so typical. You've got 3 other people, 4, because I'm one of them, who had that exact same thought. Shouldn't I just be glad for where I am? Shouldn't this just be good enough? Right? Well, can I just be the person who says, man, I'm happy here, right? And this is something Tina Marie helped me out of. So it's just, there is this normalness in what we go through. And I'm proud of you guys for taking the step to get out of it, because it's a step and you got to make that first action. So that's my takeaways, lots of them.
Thank you so much. Michael, and then Pam.
Yeah, I learned so much today. I find it really interesting that, we can put some action towards something that we have an intention towards, and we can actually experience and pay attention to some of those emotions that we all have emotions that are below the line at different times in relation to different gaps that we have in our life, and feeling into that, breathing into it, and then the awareness, and then putting some intention around what we'd love more of and putting some concerted effort towards that. I found a lot of forward progress in my life most recently by being 100% at whatever I'm doing and serve at a really high level, and more things seem to magically come my way. That's just how it works. So it's been, so it's right on topic. So thank you.
Cool. Yeah, magic equals energy. So without energy richness, there is no magic. And I think the energy richness is the opening for that instability in our life to find congruence and form. And that's what we call magic. It's simply our prayers are answered, but we have to take that step into energy richness and choose it. It's so easy to be in the gravitational pull of an energy neutral world or an energy poor world. And like I said in our talk today, I grant you the permission to be one of the annoying ones that are actually on purpose, happy, ecstatic about life, completely fulfilled, and that your stories are above the line stories that people like, don't you ever freaking complain? No, not for long, because there's so much more to laugh about and dance about. And there's a Sufism that says, I forget the exact words. It's basically, there's no time in life where you shouldn't be absolutely ecstatically dancing. Because we are absolutely, as you know that one, Teresa, it's like we should, every single one of us is in a living state, and that living state is freaking amazing. And what a gift it is whenever we hold that perspective. Pam, some takeaways for you today.
Well, just going over the certainty and being when you're being below the line again, and that going over that I always get something out of that. And also reminding us about the Think and Grow Rich, the fears and the questions. And I did put a document in the chat that's all of the questions or the tests that you were referring to.
Thank you. I see that. Thank you so much. And we've dropped in the link for tonight's talk. It's Overcoming Negativity in Your Life. It's going to be very revealing and definitely helpful for you. We say that there's always gold to take away from each one of our times together. And then if you have not yet signed up for Abolish Your Inner Saboteur or know somebody that you'd also love to introduce it to, it's simply on Bonfire Coaching's website on the front page. And then also if you drop down services, you'll see more definition about Abolish Your Inner Saboteur. Love to have you there. You can do it through Zoom as well. As far as today, we have a few seats left in the VIP room. Yay, two seats left.
2 seats left in VIP in-person room. And we've got a couple of seats in our Zoom room to be here and just be in the energy. And then, of course, we have regular Zoom if you want to get a group together at your place and create your own energy for the 2 days and enjoy it from your home.
It'd be great. I can't wait. I am so excited about the upcoming Abolish. I really am. Haven't done this since last February, so it's like, yeah. So thank you for your time here today. It's always great to be with our Bonfire family and to help you along your way. Let you know that in between our calls, in between your coaching sessions, you also have the Bonfire Inner Circle on Facebook. If you're not yet there, if we haven't hooked you up on the Bonfire Inner Circle, just let us know. You can reach us at hello@Bonfire Coaching or give a call to the office. And we want to make sure that you're connected there. You can always reach out there, share your wins, celebrations, questions, just random things. Like, I'm looking for a new podcast. Anybody got a new podcast I can listen to? You'd probably get like 100 responses there. And so just letting you know that there's a lot of community here, a lot of support for you to reach that next level of your life and beyond. Thank you for your time. I wish you all an amazing day. Thank you. Bye.